Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 5 of the Alehorn podcast. My name is Jason. Today, I am joined by my bandmates, Mike and Nix.
Hello, everybody.
And long-lost guitar player, Chad Barnwell.
Hello.
So, this is the third band profile interview that we're doing. The last one will be Ryan Fox. Right now, he's about elusive as a fox because he doesn't really talk much. So one day we'll find him again and strap him down and have him talk to us. But so this episode is all about Chad, where he started, where he's at, what he really thinks about us behind the scenes. So, what got you into learning guitar as a wee lad?
Oh man, I really wasn't into guitar or even music in general until I was I think I was just about to be out of middle school, coming into high school. So what is that, like 14, 15? Around there?
Yeah, about there. Yeah.
13, 14 range. And the very first time that I was interested, I was the radio, I think, must have been on a rock station. Because, when you're kids, it's really funny to think about that. When you don't really know or care about music, it's not like us now where we're like searching it out. So it was like I would just listen to whatever was on the radio, and for whatever reason, I was at a buddy's house and Iron Man came on the radio, and he happened to have a Fender guitar in his bedroom, and I heard it. That was the first time I heard it, and I was like, man, this is cool sounding. Like how do you do this? How do you do that sound at the beginning? Like what is that sound at the beginning? And of course, I'd never picked a guitar up, so I picked the thing up and I kind of figured it out and figured out what the notes were. I should say that I was playing violin at the time. I was into classical music, doing that for school, but that was it. I didn't have any interest outside of school for anything. So picked his guitar up, figured out how to play the basic notes to Iron Man, and then begged my parents for a guitar because I was hooked at that point, and that was it right there. That was kind of the start, the first day, if you will, and then after that it was just getting into music. Van Halen, really got into Van Halen heavy, Metallica, got into that, and just listened to as much guitar music as I could, and just started learning the best I could, and here we are today.
What was the first guitar you ever owned that you purchased?
It was I don't remember the name of it. It was a Peavey, and it sucked. It was really bad. It only had 20. It only had 20 frets. I remember that because for whatever reason, and I don't know why, I was attempting to learn songs on the 21st fret anyway on the first week that I owned a guitar. But looking up guitar tablature at that time, I don't know if you remember the process back then, but you had to sign on, to your laptop, kind of like I did tonight, or your computer, and you had to go to a site and find tabs or whatever. And it seemed like every Metallica song I looked up or any Van Halen song always had a 21st fret, and I was always like, well, I don't have that, so I don't know what to do here. But it was a red Peavey guitar, and I owned it for about 2 years. And when I got pretty good, my mom made a deal with me. If I kept it up and I was good at it, she would buy me a guitar, and that is the second guitar that I purchased and still have to this day. I think you guys have seen it a little bit. Is that black Jackson Deaky that
nice.
That I play, and that I still have that guitar. It's actually one of my favorite guitars. I love that guitar.
Yeah, no wonder you love that thing so much.
Yeah, it's I could never get rid of it. It plays well, and it's just it was the first like actual guitar that I owned. That was we'll call it a real guitar.
Plus, it has flames on the fretboard too, so that really helps.
It does. I've looked at changing that out over the years. When I was younger, I thought that was awesome, and in my olden days, I think it's kind of tacky. But you know what? It sounds good, so it's probably not worth the hassle to change it out.
How old were you when you started your first band?
My first band, actually, we could have a fun little thing here. My first band was called Hidden Authority, and we never played anywhere. It was with my still really good friend to this day, named Josh Pratt. He's the guy that I got into music with. He played drums in a marching band, and when I got into guitar, he became my drummer, or I became his guitar player, depending on who's being interviewed, I guess. And we jammed pretty much. We thought we'd jam, forever, and then life hit, and once that happened, he went to college, and I started being in my own bands. But it was called Hidden Authority. The reason I said this could be fun is if they haven't deleted it on MySpace, I think you can still look up our band on MySpace, and I think there's 2 tracks on there that instrumental tracks that we recorded and put on MySpace, and we thought it was awesome. And I checked it like 3 or 4 years ago, and this is like, at this point, 15 or 16 years old, so it's kind of cool to hear it. But I believe if you go on MySpace and type in the band Hidden Authority, and it looks like a dollar bill, the triangle of a dollar bill, the pyramid, I should say, on the dollar bill with the eyeball, that is the symbol. And I think you can find that still.
Nice. Yeah, we were talking the other day with Patrick, man, and it got me wondering the same thing. Like, I wonder if some of those early TW tracks are still up on MySpace out there floating around somewhere.
I read a thing a few years ago that something happened to MySpace and they lost a bunch of data, and I haven't tried looking it up since then. But if for some reason it's not there, I still remember the song we had on there. Like, I still remember it to this day. Like, it was like one of the first things we actually wrote, and we thought, just like now probably, it's like anytime you create something musically that it's yours, it's fresh, nobody's done it, it's really exciting. So for us, being the first thing that we recorded, we thought it was just the greatest thing in the world. I never forgot the riff.
Nice.
Did the demise of that band lead to Through the Fallen getting started?
In a way, that was the drummer Josh Pratt. He and I and Scott were all very good friends in high school, and of course you guys know Scott with Through the Fallen, and they both actually went to the same school. They went to NC State, and I was here in Asheville, and we actually still managed to play music while they were in college. I remember we arranged some crazy cool show at the Fairview Community Center. That was kind of the grassroots, I would say, of Through the Fallen, because we at the point we played as long as we could. Once we stopped playing in that band, I obviously kept playing around town. I was in a band called From the Ashes, and that was really the jumping point to Through the Fallen. That was Sam. We found Sam Steele on what was it? What's the local newspaper called? Iwana?
Yeah.
So I worked with Ryan. Ryan had a metal shirt on, and this was an ongoing joke about me back in the day. I used to approach people with wearing a metal shirt, and I used to ask them if they liked that band that they were wearing. I'd be like, hey, if you're wearing a Megadeth shirt, I wasn't very good at introducing myself, so I think Ryan was wearing a Children of Bodom shirt maybe, and I said, hey man, you like Children of Bodom? And of course the answer hopefully is yes. You wouldn't be wearing a Bodom shirt if you didn't like Bodom. So I hit it off with Ryan pretty quick. I worked with him every day, and he played guitar at the time, and he came over and played some guitar, and I was probably 7 or 8 years into it at that time, and I convinced him that I needed a bass player. It was kind of mean because really I needed a bass player, and he said he played guitar, and I was like, well, you need to play bass, kind of.
Oh man, no, that's a good chunk of history right there.
Yeah, that was probably the very beginning of really what we're doing today. But met Ryan, and Ryan was a go-getter. I was like, we need a drummer. We don't have a drummer. He's like, well, I'll go on the Iwana. We really need Ryan in a dual cast here, but I'll try to tell the story the best I can. But we basically interviewed, I think, 2 or 3 drummers from Iwana, and I don't know if you guys ever had to do that. Did you ever have to find people to play with through the ads?
Oh yeah.
And the reason I did that was, the old Metallica legend was they found each other in the recycler. So we thought, hey, we got to find our drummer in the newspaper. Naturally, that's the only way you can find them. If Metallica did it, we had to find them through the newspaper. So we found some interesting characters. I mean, there was one place we played, and me and Ryan would pretty much call them up and be like, hey man, you want to jam like tomorrow? And then yeah man, and we'd load up in our car, load all our crap up in the car, and go over there and play with them. And at that time, I really didn't know what I was doing. I was like kind of auditioning people I didn't know, so I was trying to, like, you go to an audition, you really got to have everything kind of mapped out. And half the time it'd be like we'd have it mapped out, like we want to play what the type of music we like, which is metal. And they'd be like, hey man, you want to jam some Kiss songs? And we'd be like, well, you're fired, we gotta go. So nothing against Kiss, but it just we had some strange run-ins. There was one guy's house we went to, and it was like in a shack in his backyard, and we kind of joked after the rehearsal, like, we're surprised we're still here today. We thought that might have been our last moment, was walking into that shack, playing music. But we stuck together and ended up finding Sam Steele. And Sam was cool. He came over. We hit it off immediately. You guys know Sam. He's a good drummer, good dude. Once we found Sam, we kind of had the foundation of that. Scott was back in town, so he became our singer. We had another guitar player that we played with at the time. Scott at the time did not play guitar. He only sang. I don't know if you guys remember. I don't know if you guys ever saw that band. I don't think you did. But that was From the Ashes, and that was Scott would sing. There's a video on YouTube that Sam actually sent us a few weeks ago. He was like, hey, you guys remember this? And it's that band playing at Stella Blue, and Scott sings and doesn't play guitar. But Scott had I won't say I taught Scott how to play guitar, but basically he came to me to learn how to play guitar, and I kind of showed him everything I knew, and he kind of picked it up pretty quick. And we played guitar together growing up, so he wanted to play guitar. So that band ended up kind of dissipating, and shortly after we reformed Through the Fallen with instead of a 5-member band, it was a 4-member band. Scott sang and played, Ryan played bass, I was on lead guitar, and Sam obviously played drums, and it was good. That's how we met you guys.
That actually reminds me of a funny story. Like when back in high school, the band I was in, a couple of the guys graduated, and they didn't want to. Well, basically they went off college. It wasn't like they didn't want to play anymore. So, anyways, we lost our singer and bass player. So we had this guy and his buddy that we had met through the Iwana, or contacted through the Iwana. And, we're all like 18, 19. So we had these 2 guys come over to this dude's parents' house that we were jamming in. We're 18, 19, just hanging out. We didn't really smoke or drink at the time. These dudes come in and we start jamming, some cover songs that everybody knew. And, a couple minutes in, this dude breaks out this bottle of Jack Daniels and cracks it open and just starts swigging on it, and he passes it over to the bass player. The bass player takes him a big drink of it, and here we are in this dude's parents' basement, Christian folks, they don't drink or anything like that. And we're all just like looking at each other like, uh-oh, like, what have we gotten into,
The devil lives downstairs.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, those times are fun. It's kind of funny that we still have memories of those things, but you really had to. We really wanted it. We wanted to do. We didn't know what we wanted to do, but we knew we wanted to play music. I knew I wanted to play music. I think that's why we still play music today. It's just something I would never want to stop doing. I could never stop playing music.
Yeah, I think at this point, all 3 of us, and even 4 of us with Ryan, are basically in the same boat where we're like, yeah, we're this far into it, and our wives are cool with it, so let's just keep this thing going as long as we can.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I feel like the songwriting at this point is probably the best. It's the most comfortable, but we're at that point where we can kind of start pushing certain things and try new things and understand why we're doing it. I always have that inner battle with myself with when you hear songs you wrote when you were younger, and then you hear songs you write now, and it's like part of me wishes I could pass that knowledge on to my younger self, but part of me thinks it's not possible. You have to go through those younger stages of music and writing to get to where you are now and really appreciate it and want to keep doing it.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Hey, speaking of younger self, I found you on MySpace, by the way.
Did you?
Yeah, the Executioner demo.
Nice. Is that nice? I can't remember the Executioner memo, but that's awesome.
The Republic demo.
Oh, the demo, nice. Yeah, was that the? Are you able to play it?
Not through the recording here, but I can play it on MySpace later.
Okay, awesome. That's
we need to check that out.
That's right. It was called The Executioner, I think. That's great. I think there's 2 songs on there.
There is.
Okay. That's awesome. It's still there. It's funny. It was like I'll look that up every once and again. Like I said, every few years I'll think about it. It's like a little nostalgia boost. It's like, well, I think we recorded that through at the time, Line 6 was the leader in that kind of thing. It was like a Line 6 recorder of some sort, and it was at the time it was the Cat's Bananas, man. It was cool.
That kind of stuff was high technology, 15 years ago.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have seen the recent Ola England videos, but he is testing stuff from back then now. Have you seen those?
Oh, I hadn't seen those.
So he's like testing the Line 6 pod, and it's like, does it still hold up today? And he's testing the Zoom DX pedals. You remember those? The Zoom pedals that have like 50 different presets on it, and it was
yeah.
It was like silver and blue, and he's testing those.
I have one of those.
Yeah, there you go. They were awesome. I mean, back in the day, they were great. It was like, wow, I can sound like anybody I want to with one click of a button. So,
back when I used to mess with guitar, I used it for a wah pedal. And then when I learned the occasional Rage Against the Machine riff, I would use it for my whammy pedal.
Nice.
Very convenient.
No, I have to ask you a question now because I actually I just saw where Tom Morello released that signature guitar. I always liked him a lot. So were you into Rage when you were younger?
Yeah, I'm not a hater. I mean, I think they're a little hypocritical. Like, fuck the man, and then we'll play Coachella for the man. But, shit like that, But, no, like, as far as, like, rap metal goes, it's very listenable because the riffs were weird, man. They were kind of like rock and roll based. They were original sounding, So, yeah, I mean, I can respect anybody who's original. I just hate all the copycats later on.
Right, yeah. I was really into Audio Slave. Audio Slave was the band, I think, of the time when they were out. It was just great music from them, and obviously Tom Morello. And I never learned that style of guitar, but I always appreciated it. Like if you watch him play on that, I think he demos that new guitar now, and the stuff he's doing is insane. It's like only him could do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I read that he has like notebooks upon notebooks of settings for his pedals and just what guitar he uses and what pickup, this pedal on this setting, this pedal on that setting, and then I use my toggle switch to make this little sound and just cool stuff like that. I definitely got respect for him.
Yeah, it's a different kind of rock. It's just great. It's great.
I actually saw them my first concert ever too. It was Lollapalooza. It was Metallica, Soundgarden, Rage Against the Machine, and Rancid, and some other bands I don't remember.
God, that's a Lollapalooza. Jane's Addiction, most likely.
No, it wasn't Jane's Addiction.
Really?
It was some other, I think Screaming Trees was on there. Some other lower ones I don't remember right offhand. I could probably look it up and tell you, but yeah, it was my first big concert ever.
Yeah, I remember those. I remember those festivals. I wish they still had those. It was like Lollapalooza and Summer Sanitarium was a big one back then, I think. every year, and I can't remember the other. There was one or two other big ones that were like it was like iconic every year. It was like, oh, cool. I should go to that sometime. I never made it. I made it to one sanitarium. That was it. My first concert.
That was probably the one that I made it to, if I'm guessing right.
Yeah, yeah. It was fun. It was Metallica, obviously. Linkin Park was on that one. Limp Bizkit was on that one. Yeah, I know. Hear the boos. You need a boo button. Boo. And Deftones, and that was it. And Mudvayne. I actually enjoyed the Deftones set, and I enjoyed Mudvayne quite a bit. Obviously, Chester Bennington has passed, and I didn't hate their set. I mean, they were new at the time, so it was like it was breaking ground or whatever, but definitely not the same thing you'd see today. It was things are different now, so I don't think you'd see that same lineup.
Right. Yeah. Actually, the one I made it to was the one. It was Metallica and Kid Rock. Boo. There's your boo button again. And and System of a Down actually played that one, and that was before anybody liked them.
God, yeah, I saw them.
People were throwing beers at them, like throwing full beers at them while they were on stage, and they were so pissed they almost walked off the stage. And then a couple years later they released Toxicity, and like all of a sudden everybody thinks they're awesome because that was a great album.
Yeah, haters become lovers. I thought that album and the album after it were both great. I saw them on that tour. Actually, I saw them at Ozfest following the next album on that tour. And I thought they played awesome. I mean, I always thought when you see them, especially, they put on a great show, but they're very talented. Like, just unbelievable band to see live.
Yeah, they were cool in their day, man. I got some respect for them.
Not sure what happened to them. They kind of just disappeared, but I haven't looked it up.
So when you first heard us, when we played with you guys, what was your initial thought?
I thought you guys were awesome. We played with a lot of bands, and I don't know how everybody judges bands. I don't tend to try not to judge anybody when I watch them. Any band we play with, I try to just sit there and soak it in. But I really, really dug your sound a lot. And I mean, obviously, I'm lucky enough to play with you guys now, but especially your guitar tone and your riffs, I really gravitated towards that. I wanted to be there listening to your set when we saw you guys, especially after we saw you the first time. So, and it's not to say that I don't want to listen to any other band's sets. I try to catch as much as I can, but we kind of hit it off. When I first heard you guys, I was like, man, I really want to listen to what they're doing and just see what's happening here and hopefully be a part of this at some point. I really was. It was funny because before you know people, I didn't know you guys then. So you guys were like majestic to me. So I was like, oh man, Micah and Jason, those are cool dudes. I don't know if they want to hang out with a guy like me or whatever. But luckily, I think you and Scott really kind of talked a little bit and kind of started hanging out, and we started hanging out a little bit here and there. As soon as I had an opportunity to be able to play with you, I really wanted to do that. I was like, man, it'd be really cool to get in. I think when you guys did the Tusk album.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like I was excited when you guys asked me to play guitar solo. I was like, yes, I can get to jam with those guys. It's so cool. So, and I know it was kind of like you guys recorded it and I came in and heard it and played it. But when I first heard you guys, I really I liked it a lot.
Well, cool. Yeah, I remember. I can't remember which one of you guys I spoke to first, but I remember watching you guys, and I was like, man, these guys are playing guitar harmonies, and they got these cool melodies. And then, we spoke to you guys, and it's like, oh, these dudes are actually cool, And we had played with, I hate to bang on people, but we had played with a lot of bands that we didn't really care for, or bands that we did like, but they were kind of douchebags, and
Yeah.
It was nice. It was
Too much
nice to play with
metalcore.
it was nice to play with some dudes that were cool and actually played good music too.
Yeah, we try not to take ourselves too seriously ever. which is a phrase I've heard in this band as well. But we really just liked music, and we knew what we liked, and we knew what we wanted to play, and we also knew that there was a crowd for that. We went out and just did what we wanted to do, and it was great. It was fun. I listened to that album, through the Fallen album, every once and again, and it's that whole album is a big memory because it was a train wreck making the album. It was just it was a nightmare, but it came out into something, and it still, to me, when I hear it, I'm really proud of it. It's one of those things, but that's what we like to do, man. Yeah, we Scott, I don't know if I should say this on the air, but Scott at one point had mentioned how cool it would be to re-record either portions of that album or the whole album at some point with Andy, because Scott really liked Andy a lot with Draft Studios. For people wondering who Andy is, at Draft Studios, and so he had thrown that out there at one point. That was a few years back, and things have kind of changed a little bit. But I would like at some point to be able to do that. Re-record some of that album, and just to see what kind of different tones and sounds we can get, because we were really happy with it when it came out, and still proud of it to this day. But I'd like another chance to see what it could be if we had somebody recording it that was on it like Andy is with us.
I think that would be cool if you guys ever get the opportunity to do that.
We shall see. But for now, we got plenty of new projects coming up with Temptations Wings, which I'm very excited about.
Absolutely.
Who do I need to talk to about getting a copy of that album for myself?
Through the Fallen album?
Because I never got one.
Oh, wow, really? God. No. Jeez. You have my number. Believe it or not, but this is not a myth. I think there's like 2 copies left, and I think I've got one here that I found recently, and I was like, wow, I can't believe I have this still, because it's in the package. So if I could find it, I have to shout out, if she'll listen, I have to shout out to Sarah Bryce. Sarah Bryce actually came to our show when we played the Orange Peel and supported both bands and likes both bands. She's a huge fan of ours. She listened to that album almost every day, to the point that it actually wore out in her car. And like she'd pull into our workplace. I used to work with her. She'd pull into the workplace and it would be on every morning. I was like, man, like that's cool. Like that somebody likes that much. You know what I mean? So I've got 2 left. So I got to make sure to get you one, Jason, and I'll get one to her as well.
I still have that in my car. That CD is in my car, and if you can't find yours, I'll definitely give that to you to burn, Jason.
Nice. Yeah, we don't need.
It's on Bandcamp, isn't it?
I think it is. I think it is on Bandcamp, actually. It is. Yeah. I can't remember how that whole thing worked, but yeah, you could listen to it there for sure.
Okay.
So what was the first amp that you bought? And tell me a little bit of the history of the amps you owned. When did you pick up your 5150?
So I was not, and I still don't consider myself good at guitar tone. It's the daily battle. But the first amp that I owned was some sort of Peavey, because it was cheap. It was a combo amp. It was a Peavey, and it got kind of dirty. And I basically threw some kind of a pedal. I think I probably threw I think I had a Boss Metal Zone.
Metal Zone, yep. It had to have been a Metal Zone.
Yeah, if it was a Metal Zone. Because I looked at the orange one, and had I been smart, I probably would have just gotten that. But I was like, I got to have the Metal Zone because it says metal in the name.
It says metal.
This thing's got to be good, right? And I think they're finally coming along now, but at the time they were very raspy. I don't know if you remember those. it was very, very hard to.
There's a camp of people out there, dude, that still really love those Metal Zone pedals. Like, if you know how to use them, apparently they sound really good.
Yeah, that's
I never YouTube. Got that, but
like the dawn of YouTube, when you're like, man, this thing sucks, and you go on there and you watch how somebody sounds good at it, and you're like, what do you do? And there's ways to do it. I mean, they're on there, and it's really cool. It's It's like, man, I wish we had that back when I was doing that, because that would have been sweet. But the next amp I bought after that, I saved up some money. I bought a Joe Satriani signature amp from PV, which I don't know if
Nice.
you remember those eras, but I still am to this day a huge Joe Satriani fan, and liked his tone. PV, they didn't quite nail it with Joe Satriani's tone. I think he was a good sport, and I think he played those amps, but he's a pedal guy. So Satriani, until now, I believe he's always been a pedal guy. So no matter what he's had, he basically plays a clean channel, and he runs that Boss Orange DS1 that I was telling you about, which I had recently. If you remember that little phase where I had that,
Yeah.
he runs that through about anything he has, and obviously he has great tone. So I had that amp thinking it was going to be the amp of my dreams, and it wasn't. It got kind of close, but it just didn't. For metal, there's certain things you need, and it's like, man, I just didn't have it. So from there, I got my first big block 5150, and that was the amp that carried me through a lot. I mean, it was from the Ashes, and then Through the Fallen. Those two bands. Unfortunately, when Through the Fallen kind of split up, that was one of those things where I was kind of thinking, man, I'd played guitar a long time. There was a lot of investing going on there, and I got rid of that 5150. And you guys probably still hear me talk about that to this day, how sad it was when I got rid of that amp. It was like, I missed it immediately. I was like, what a stupid decision that was to get rid of that 5150 I had.
That was a great sounding amp, man. But honestly, I think with our current setup, I think it's worked out.
Well, that was a blessing. I think I played everything you had. Obviously, I played bass for a while, so that's interesting for people that obviously don't know the history of our band. So I don't know if that was a question you guys were going to lead into.
Actually, let me ask you right now: were you insulted when we asked you to play bass?
No, actually, I was very excited about it. I have always had an affinity for great bass players, and one of the bass players that I really liked a lot, and I thought I could achieve. There's two guys I really wanted to try to emulate and learn from whenever I joined you guys on bass, and that was Dave Ellefson from Megadeth, and and also Iron Maiden. So Steve Harris with Iron Maiden. I wanted to basically combine those two people into one person, and I was excited to learn and play bass. And I learned a lot about bass, and doing that, it actually is the reason I'm probably still playing with you guys today, because that totally just reinvigorated my thoughts on music and wanting to play music and how I approached it, and learning a whole new instrument and bass and learning how that worked was really exciting for me, and a really cool part of the songwriting process. That was probably my favorite part, was how I approach songwriting, and it, I think, affects the way I approach songwriting now, just because I was listening from a different perspective. So now when I write, I kind of think about that stuff, whereas before I kind of just made a riff and said, hey, play this, So now there's a lot more into it.
So the reviews for the Skullthor album, which for people who don't know, Chad played bass on it. The reviews always mention how awesome the bass was in the songs, like how it was a integral part and so high up in the mix rather than just filling in the low end, like a lot of albums do. So I was always pretty proud of that fact that the bass got recognition from a lot of reviewers.
Oh yeah, I was too. I was really excited about that. I think at the time, the way we were operating, because you guys were always a three-piece, and I thought that was really cool. I always thought that, being able to throw those ideas in there as a three-piece, because, I mean, there's so many options you have, and so many great bands that have three people that do it, but it's just, when you don't have that other guitar, there's so many things you can throw in there, especially on the high end, that just really kind of change the way the song is perceived. And I had a chance to do that on that whole album with you guys, and I thought it was really great. That album was a lot of fun to make. I love that album. I actually still love that album. Probably my favorite.
Yeah, it was really fun doing that one, and just hearing the stuff that you had come up with on the bass, even on songs we had written for a few years before you joined the band. Just hearing you come up with a lot of that stuff was really cool.
Yeah, I'm glad it's translated over to Ryan being able to do a lot of that. Luckily we were able to segue into where he could keep a lot of that stuff and keep that part of it alive. I think I'm actually really excited about our new release. That I think there's a lot of cool stuff happening, both with guitars and bass, and I hope we can kind of bring it all together and as a 4-piece. And I think this is going to be a good release for us as far as where we are and how we've evolved with the bass and with the second guitar.
Yeah, it'd be nice to support it live, maybe again one day.
Yeah,
one day, hopefully.
I know. Right now, it's just I was looking up. There is an app I looked up. It's something where we can all download it. We can actually have band practice from our house. Pretty cool.
The latency would probably be an issue, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it was actually. I looked it up, and it was. I forget the name of it now. I'll have to email you what it was, but basically it showed like people jamming, and it somehow eliminates the latency enough to where it just you could hear it. You got those electric drums now, so we could probably just use those and jam to it.
Yeah, maybe we can try it,
man. If worst comes to worst, we can try it, man.
The worst case is it won't work. Have to see.
Yeah, worst case is we'd be in the same boat we are now.
I mean, I'll tell you guys, if this shit goes on for much longer, we're just going to have to tell Ryan to put a hazmat suit on, get his ass over here to practice. It's been, what has it been, about a month and a half now?
Yeah.
Since we've had a full band practice. If you're listening, Ryan, this goes for you.
Yeah, he's doing his part and playing it safe. I can't say I'm not.
No, I give him a hard time. We give him a hard time because we like him.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I don't blame him a bit, and me and Jason watched the Howlin' Giant live stream a couple weeks ago, and their bass player was actually wearing gloves and a mask while he was playing. And so worst comes to worst, maybe we can go that route.
Absolutely. Yeah, I just it's a weird time right now. I think honestly though, when this is all over, I think a lot of people are going to appreciate what the things maybe they didn't appreciate before. There's a lot of good stuff happening on camera right now with people trying to keep folks entertained at home, but I think especially now with not even being able to go anywhere and seeing all these artists that are really trying to do the social media shows and stuff like that, really trying to keep people, just keep them entertained somehow and keeping them, from going crazy at their house. I think it's really going to pay off for musicians. I think you're going to see a pretty big surge of people coming out to hopefully support live music when this is over, of all sorts. I mean, I can't think of anyone who wouldn't want to listen to metal after being cramped up in their house for 2 months, not being able to go anywhere. So I think it'll be a good thing once this is over that people will actually maybe go out and support the music better. That's my guess.
I hope so. We shall see.
But if we're playing to 5 people, we'll play to those 5 people the best we can.
Hey, we've done it before.
Absolutely.
Something tells me we'll do it again.
Absolutely.
Were you insulted when we fired you from bass and told you to play guitar again?
No. I knew it was coming. And I can say honestly, I wasn't exactly hoping for it at that time, but I knew that when Ryan filled in, I knew what I was getting myself into, because I knew that Ryan could hold it down just fine, and I knew you guys would like Ryan. It made sense because as much fun as it was writing bass, there was always that part of me that was like, man, this would sound cool with another guitar in it, or this is what I would do if I was playing guitar right here, or that thought came across a lot. So I was excited when you made the decision. It was like, okay, cool. And actually, for the record, I really wish I could go back and record guitar over a lot of that Skullthor album. Although the album is never going to be touched, the way it is fine with 3 people. But I really like what we did with those songs with another guitar in the mix as well.
That's kind of what the idea of the live album was, to be honest with you, because I didn't want to go back and mess with that because a lot of people bought that album. So I was like, why would you put a better version out if so many people own it already? So why not just do a live version, and that way it's not really the same thing, but we can play the songs with another guitar, and the quality is there, So
Right. Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. I agree. Yeah, that's where I was too. It was. Luckily, I was a part of that album anyway on the bass, so it's like it doesn't matter that we're not going to re-record it with that guitar, but it was a lot of fun to step back and then play guitar on it and be a guitar player playing those songs as well.
Going back to the question of of you moving over to guitar, I remember a couple days after that show that Ryan filled in on, I sent a text to Jason and I was like, dude, what do you think about Ryan joining the band on bass? And Jason, it took him a while to respond. I could tell he was thinking about it, and then he comes back and he says, "What do you mean? We're getting rid of Chad?" I was like, "No, man, no. Like, hear me out. Like, you know how long we've been wanting to do guitar harmonies. Let's see if Chad wants to play guitar again, dude."
Yeah, I was excited. I was, as you guys have probably learned from the recording process, I was never very confident in my lead guitar playing abilities. So I had gotten to where I just overthought that too much and just kind of drawn a line on it. I'm glad you guys got me back into it because it's been a lot of fun playing guitar a lot and playing nearly every day and just really trying to get better and be good for the band as well. I'm hoping that the recordings pay off when the folks hear them. I'm really excited about the new stuff we've done. Mirkwood and Dimensions, probably easily two of my most favorite songs I've ever written personally with somebody, but that have also come out on a recording that it's been like, man, that was exactly how that was supposed to be. And I feel like it's carried over into the new recordings as well, which I'm excited to. I'm hoping we can get that stuff out there to the public soon because, the thought of putting it out next year sometimes is kind of depressing. It's like, man, we've worked so hard.
It is, but if we can't do a little bit behind it to help push it, I don't really see a point in releasing it this year if there's nothing going on. Like a band our size, you really gotta maximize your opportunities.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
But the only thing I'm worried about too is I'm afraid that next year is going to be so crowded from this year being pretty much a washout that I'm afraid it's going to be hard to get shows next year too. So I don't know, man. Just have to see how it goes. But I would almost bet to say that big bands have backup dates to the backup dates booked also.
Yeah.
Spring and summer next year. Yep.
Absolutely. Well, I like what you're doing with the podcast. I think you've done a great job with it. I mean, I've heard what you've done with it so far, and it just very, very good. And I think if we can get some people to listen, let's get some of these local bands involved and get people listening to it and seeing what's happening out here. I mean, it's supposedly Asheville's the next big music area, so let's be a part of that. Let's get these guys involved that want to be here, and you had Horseburner already on here, and hopefully you can get somebody else that's local that you can interview, and I'll help you guys out, and we can make this a community, a little metal community, and see what we can do with it.
I'm actually using people I know well as a guinea pig to practice up before I interview people I don't really know well. So
Nice.
There's a little secret to everybody.
Hey, your questions have been very good. I've enjoyed it.
Well, half the questions are written, and then the other half come from somebody's answers. So, if they say something I'm more interested in, I'm like, oh, yeah, let me find out more about that. So.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Good deal.
All right, you got anything else, Micah?
That's all I've got for the regular round.
Okay. Well, cool. So, let's finish up with the lightning round. This is a pretty good one, Chad. I hope you're ready.
Yeah. Trying to. You're breaking up a little bit, but I'm ready.
Okay, lightning round for episode 5, Chad Barnwell edition. Here we go. Randy Rhoads or George Lynch?
George Lynch.
Episode 2 or episode 8?
Ooh, 2 or 8.
Yep.
Hold on. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Episode 8.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a tie. There's a tiebreaker in this band for that because Micah said episode 2.
I enjoyed 9.
I haven't seen it yet. I won't comment. Let's see. WCW, WWF.
That's a tough question. You're playing with my heartstrings now. That is.
I do.
That's WWF.
All right. Warrior or Macho Man?
Warrior or Macho Man? Yeah, I think I'd have to say Macho Man just before his off-screen antics.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, brother.
Look, here he is.
Coffee. Yeah.
Good job, Chad. He showed up. You summoned the spirit of the Macho Man.
Ricky Steamboat got his cup of coffee, I tell you.
Mario or Zelda?
God, that's Zelda, but it's a tough one. Love Zelda.
Okay. Justice album or Rust in Peace?
Man, Rust in Peace.
Micah went Justice on that one, so
Yeah,
I'm going to have to go Rust in Peace myself.
I'll tell you, I know
just from a technical standpoint, it's way more impressive, I think. But
I like both.
Justice is fucking awesome too.
I love both albums, but I actually intentionally listen to Rust in Peace once a year. Well, I say once a year, but I'll put it in the car for about a week every year, and I'll just listen to it. And it's every time it is just amazing. Every time, like it is, it's like, man. Every time I hear it, it's like going back and hearing it for the first time, and I intentionally don't wear it out. It's like I'll listen to it, put it away, shelf it, and then listen to it again another year later around there. And I love that album.
Man, Holy Wars and Hangar 18 are a little overplayed nowadays. But, man, the rest of the album, when you hear it, when you haven't heard it for a while, and those riffs kick in, dude, it's like, man, I remember why I love this fucking album so much.
Hey, actually, this is a good time to segue into this, and Mike, I haven't told you this yet. So, being that we're quarantined, obviously we've been working on our guitar chops. My quarantine goal is to learn one of my bucket list solos was Tornado of Souls. And Ben Eller. Ben Eller has a great lesson on that online. And obviously we both follow Ben Eller and like him a lot. But I am learning that from him per his tutorial. I'm about halfway through it right now, and it's about 90% through on the halfway mark, playing it through that point. So I'm hoping to, when I get done with it, do maybe a video, or maybe I'll play it live with you guys at the practice space when we get back together. And make that happen. So learn the solo rhythm section of Tornado of Souls. Tornado of Souls.
I'll do it, man. I'll do it. I actually haven't seen that video yet, and I'm probably going to go in there and watch it after we get done here.
Oh man, it's awesome.
You guys done guitar wanking? Okay. Drummer ain't got time for shit like that. All right. Opeth or Mastodon?
Oh man, so you guys got me into both of those bands. Both of them, I had not heard much of them, and I got heavily into both bands because of you guys. Mastodon's last album, Emperor of Sand, might be one of my top favorite albums. Like, it is a great album. But Opeth is just unbelievable. Their whole career is awesome, and especially changing it up with the Curveball, 4 albums ago? It was a tough one, but I'm going to have to say Opeth on that one.
All right. Well, you and Micah both agreed on that one.
Yep.
So.
Yep, nothing against Mastodon, though. Like I said, I love Emperor and Sand. If it was like album to album, that album is one of the top best albums I've heard. But this Michael Ackerfeld and everything that whole band does, the whole band is ridiculous.
That they are. Let's see. NES or SNES?
I was an SNES guy, and I played some NES, but definitely SNES on that one.
Favorite Slayer album?
God Hates Us All.
All right.
What a fantastic quarantine answer.
Modern country or rap?
Oh my God! Can I pass that one?
No, you have to answer every question.
Old Town Road's actually one of my favorite songs.
You know, man, I got a special place in my heart for that song because one of the things that I was asked when my son Jonah was born was what is the number one song in the country right now. So I googled it, and it's "Old Town Road" was the number one song, a year ago when he was born. And so I'm like, okay, I'll check this out, just to see what it is. And it's actually not bad.
You don't have to hate it. It's like, okay, it's good enough. It's good enough. And yeah, Billy Ray Cyrus coming out of retirement from what, 20 years or something? I don't know. What's the last thing Billy Ray Cyrus did?
So what did you pick? Did you pick modern country or rap?
Modern country.
Okay. That's getting that out there for everybody. Favorite TW song you didn't help write?
Oh, man. So I got to go pre-Skull Thor. It's going to be off the Tusk album. There's a lot of them. There's March. So I always liked March of the Barbarian Horde.
Yes, you and my uncle. My uncle loves that song.
But
I've done so much better, but he doesn't care.
But I'm probably going to say, and it's one we don't play anymore, but because I played the guitar solo on the album, I'm going to say I really like Death Rides With Us. That was probably the one that I was really excited about it. And I still like the song. I still like listening back to that.
I'm glad you brought that up again, man, because your solo on that is killer.
I think we need to make it happen next time we play out live.
We might need to bring that one back.
I'm going to finish up my questions with a good one here. Micah or Scott?
You son of a bitch.
I can't answer that one. They are both phenomenal singers in their own way. So I cannot answer that one. But I can tell you I really enjoy Micah's vocals, and both of the guys they work hard to get the sound they wanted to get. So that's impossible.
All right, take all the fun out of everything, you damn diplomats.
No offense, Micah. I love your vocals. Hope you don't think I'm saying I don't. Yeah, that was a tough one. Jason with the nut punch at the end there.
Oh man, I
love those kind of questions, man. It gets you squirming. I love it. All right, Micah, I'm gonna finish them up here.
All right, I got a handful here for the lightning round. All right, take Metallica out of the equation.
Yep.
Who are the big four?
All right. Iron Maiden, Ozzy. Can I just say Ozzy? Does that encompass all of Ozzy?
That'll work.
Okay. Van Halen. Changed music forever. And Slayer. Sorry. Back that up. Alice in Chains.
Nice. You can't go wrong with Alice in Chains.
Yeah, I'm just too big of a Cantrell fan to not include him in that, and it's just I think I covered most of the decades there, and what I really like to listen to.
Nice. So that's a perfect segue into my next question: Dirt or Facelift?
Facelift.
Nice. That's another one. There's really no wrong answer to.
No, I know. I just I think you guys actually came to the show with Through the Fallen when we covered Bleed the Freak, but that's one of my favorite songs of all time. Like, just I love the premise of it, and I love the music in it, and it's just that song being on that album kind of cements it for me.
Nice. Yeah, I remember that, and I remember you guys like doing a hell of a job, and I remember being like, dude, you guys actually did that.
Yeah, it was that. I think we covered Iron Maiden one time when you guys were there, and that was fun too. I sang the Bruce part, the high part. I worked hard on that.
I remember you guys did a Dio cover too. You guys did "We Rock."
Yeah. Yep. Yep, we tried we did a few. I think that was it, and we had one more cover, which was I think one of the Justice songs actually. I think it was Blackened actually is what we did, but
Nice.
we tried to make sure if we were going to present something live that was a cover that it was like you don't want to like half-ass a cover. You know what I mean? It's got to be dead on.
Yeah, especially one of those legendary songs like that. All right. Black Sabbath or Pink Floyd?
Uh, I'm gonna have to go with as much as I like David Gilmour and his influence on music. I'm gonna have to go with Sabbath.
Especially on what we're doing, our style of music, man. You can't knock or undersell the value of Tony Iommi.
No, Tony Iommi is he's the man. There's too many of those things that they did, especially I mean if you consider Sabbath with Dio and what he did in that era, which I don't know if that's a question, but I think I actually like the Dio era better than I like the Ozzy era, to be honest with you. His playing was phenomenal at those times. Their songwriting was killer whenever Dio was with them.
Yeah, I think Patrick went with Dio era Sabbath too when we asked him.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He was pretty emphatic about it too.
Nice. Yeah.
No, it is a big step up in like playing, but those Aussie riffs, man, it's just I don't know, man. They're just so dark and some are pretty weird, and I don't know, man. I can't say that the Aussie out era will never be my favorite, but the Dio era is fucking killer too. So
it's kind of arguably the first metal band ever with that. So I hear you.
Right. All right. Piece of gear that you do not own that you would have if you had any amount of money to spend.
There's so many things. I would probably have to go with a guitar on that. And to which one? I don't know, because you know how it is. Right now I'm in because of you, I'm in a Les Paul phase, but I'd have to say it'd have to be some kind of a guitar. I really would say it would be some sort of either high-end Ibanez. I was really a fan of the Ibanez Prestige series, or hell, it could be something else. I don't know. I'm really into Ola England's brand right now. Never played one, but solar guitars. It'd probably just be some kind of a newer guitar. The Kiesels, you own a Kiesel, those are sick. It'd probably be some kind of a guitar. I have no clue. Amps, amps are different these days. I love what we play right now. Those 5153s are great, and they're cheap, and I love it, and I don't really see myself needing anything else. Here we go. I'm going to answer it for you right now because we said amps. It'd be that Jerry Cantrell signature amp that's out right now.
Yes.
That'd be it. Yeah. That'd be it. That thing is sick.
That's mine. If I ever have $4,000 to blow, that's what I'm getting.
Yep, the Jerry Cantrell signature. That thing is nice.
All right. I'm going to make you choose between my favorite Through the Fallen songs.
Okay.
Your Way to Life or Sin of a Broken Man?
Sin of a Broken Man, for sure. That one sits with me pretty heavy because that was like one of those songs that it was written in a cool setting. It was literally like there was a party we were at and we were kind of bored, and I kind of walked into one of the back rooms and there was an acoustic sitting there and Scott was there. He was like, "Hey man, what you doing?" I was like, "Nah, I was jamming." I wasn't feeling the party, and just started playing this riff, and he just started singing it. It was literally like snap of a finger. Fell on the riff, he started singing it. It was done, and that was really cool.
That's awesome, man. I love that song so much, dude. That song it's a special song, and I still love it, and I will always love it.
Yeah, I'm hoping we can play that one again someday, even if we're the ones that are playing it. So that's one of those that I would love to break out again on. I believe I've got the blessing of the guys to do it. We've talked about that a little bit, but I would definitely like to get their approval again to make sure we're good. But I think that that's one I would love to play out loud sometime soon.
Yeah, we might need to cover that.
I hadn't thought about an EP of bringing up a couple old songs by everybody in the band. So a couple old songs of maybe off the or early days that we like from TW, and maybe a couple Center Remain songs, or maybe even one of Chad's other bands or Ryan's other bands if he had any that he liked. I don't know because I never asked him, but
yeah, absolutely.
We'll find out soon enough.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
we could do like a little 2-song EP or something.
Yeah, make it happen. Absolutely. We could. It could be the release that we do before next year.
Yeah, I mean, if Andy's studio isn't quarantined, we might have like plenty of studio time we could get around to.
Yeah, like a digital EP, the old stuff or something.
Yeah. All right, Cliff Burton or Jason Newsted?
Love both of them, but you can't get away with saying anybody else. It's got to be Cliff Burton.
Cliff.
That tone was killer, man. He was something else. I always wonder. Everybody wonders what would have happened if he had still been here.
Let me pull Patrick Whitaker on that question real quick. Are you just getting plumb stupid right now, or what?
No.
Okay, just asking.
Just getting weird with it. Let's just get weird and see if this dude says something completely crazy.
It's like Jason Newsted, you're fired. But to be fair, though, I actually really, really, really like Jason Newsted's energy with Metallica. I like Rob a lot, but Jason with Metallica was a certain kind of energy that I never got to see live, but from what I saw was really cool. I thought he did a great job at that.
His backing vocals are sorely missed.
Yeah, definitely. They were
backing vocals, yeah.
They were great.
Pick a Star Trek character. That character is the only human in the show. The rest of the cast are Muppets.
Kirk, for sure.
Nice.
Kirk. It was between Kirk and Spock. I mean, there was the two guys, but just because I think about how what's his name? God, I forgot his name now. Captain Kirk.
Shatner.
Yeah. I think about his personality outside of that. It's just he's got a personality on him. So yeah, I'd say him.
Dude, are you into Star Trek?
I started watching the original series. It's on Netflix, I think. I watched the first 3 episodes, I think. The thing about Star Trek old episodes is they're super long. They're like an hour and 45 minutes a piece. So it's not like sitting down to watch a modern day show where it's 30 minutes long. You're like an hour and a half in every time you sit down. So I've been trying to whittle my way through it as I can.
Okay, I was going to ask if you were into original series or Next Generation.
Sure. Now that Pickard is out, I really want to watch Next Generation because I think that's a cool storyline, but I haven't seen any of that, so that's a lot of catching up to do.
Dude, season 3 and 4 of Next Generation, where they deal with the Klingons and the Borg a lot, that is some prime sci-fi right there, dude. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and I remember seeing I think I've seen a few of those movies on accident, and they were good. It was like, man, so it's definitely one of those. Maybe since we're in quarantine, I can catch up on it.
Definitely. So, Jason, you want to give your answer to the question?
For Next Generation, I would go Worf as the human actor because Worf acting with puppets would just be so awesome. I think.
Yeah, that's
just the way he would growl at them and shit. But I'd say for the original series, I'd probably say the human would probably be McCoy because he's a hateful sumbitch anyway, and he would get pissed off with the puppets also or Muppets also. So yeah.
Oh, dude, yeah, I could see him just cussing at these Muppets like.
Yeah, I'm going McCoy and Worf.
Damn it, Muppet Jim. I went with Commander Riker because he's such a creep, like him creeping on all these.
He is a little
him
pervy.
Creeping on all these female Muppets would just be killer. That's all the lightning round I've got.
All right, well, that does it for episode 5. We hope you learned a lot about Chad and what made him the man he is today. Please support us on Patreon. $1 equals a lot of views on YouTube and a lot of listens on Spotify and other streaming services. So we appreciate your hard-earned money helping us out through this COVID-19 downtime us and pretty much every other musician finds himself in. Please listen to the free feeds when they become available if you have not already. Thanks for tuning in. we'll see you for episode 6.
Goodbye.